I hope that he wasn't scared, that it all happened pretty quickly for him.
Once you get married, all of a sudden it turns out to be a different person in some respects.
Most people know Annie's Song as one of the most beautiful love songs ever written, a glowing tribute from a devoted husband, John Denver, to his first wife, Annie Martell. For nearly 5 decades, this was the accepted story. But in a recent and surprising podcast interview, Annie herself, now 78, revealed a more complicated truth. The song wasn't born from a moment of pure joy and passion. It came from a difficult moment in their marriage, a moment of pain and reconciliation. Annie shared that the song was written after she and John had a serious argument. He went skiing alone in Aspen, and as he rode the ski lift, the melody came to him. He rushed home, and within 10 minutes, the lyrics poured out. It wasn't a planned love song, it was an apology, a raw expression of his desire to fix things. For Annie, it wasn't just a love song, it was a prayer. This revelation completely changes how fans hear the song, turning it from a simple declaration of love into a powerful anthem about fighting to keep love alive. While Annie's Song was a public symbol of their love, the reality of their marriage was much more challenging. John Denver's success was meteoric. He went from a young folk singer to a global superstar with hits like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Rocky Mountain High. But this fame, which brought so much to their lives, also became a destructive force. Annie, who married John when she was just 20, found herself lost in his world. She watched as the quiet, sensitive man she loved was consumed by the demands of fame, endless tours, and the constant spotlight. As John's star rose, Annie felt herself fading into the background. She later confessed, "I didn't know who I was anymore. I lost my identity in his world." Their shared life in Aspen, once a peaceful refuge, became a place of silence and growing distance. John himself admitted in a 1983 interview that his career had a major effect on their relationship most, and that they had started to drift apart. The end of their marriage was marked by a now infamous incident that shows just how badly things had broken down. During their divorce, John Denver, the gentle poet of nature, took a chainsaw to the marital bed. This wasn't just an emotional metaphor. It was a real act of anger and destruction. The story sounds unbelievable, but it was confirmed by Annie, and even by John himself in his autobiography, Take Me Home. He confessed to being emotionally unstable and prone to violent outbursts during their breakup. This act was a shocking contrast to his public image. Annie, however, chose to handle this dark period with grace. She never went to the press or tried to tear down his legacy. She stayed quiet for decades, protecting the memory of the love they once shared, even in its most painful moments. It wasn't until her recent podcast interview that she spoke openly about this time, not for revenge, but to share a more honest and human story. Despite the heartbreak and the chaos, Annie's deep affection for John remains. This is clearest in one small, powerful detail. She still keeps the first love letter he ever wrote her. It sits on her desk, a constant reminder of a time before fame and pressure changed everything. The letter represents who they were when they first met in Minnesota. 2 young people building their relationship through thoughtful, handwritten notes. It's a snapshot of a pure and innocent love. For Annie, holding on to that letter doesn't mean she has forgotten the pain. It means she honors the beginning of a love story that shaped her life. This quiet act of loyalty is especially moving when you consider that she never remarried. She stayed in Aspen, raising their two adopted children, Zachary and Anna Kate, and chose to live a life away from the public eye. Her decision to protect her family and her past with dignity is what makes her story so unique. Annie's grace stands in stark contrast to the turbulence of John's life after their divorce. His second marriage to Australian actress Cassandra Delaney was short, lived, and difficult. Delaney later described John as a vindictive bully, a description that shocked fans who only knew his public persona. This period of his life was marked by his struggles with alcohol, 2 arrests for driving under the influence, and the revocation of his pilot's license. The gentle singer's image began to unravel as his private battles became public. Yet, even through this chaos, a part of John remained connected to Annie. He continued to send her flowers on her birthday and Mother's Day, a small gesture that showed the enduring importance she held in his heart. The last time Annie and John spoke was a simple phone call. She thanked him for the flowers he had sent, and his reply was a poignant, heartfelt, "But Annie, I love you." She responded in kind, "I love you too." It was a simple exchange, but it would be their last. Just a few days later, on October 12, 1997, John Denver, who had a passion for flying, died when his experimental aircraft crashed into Monterey Bay. He was 53 years old. Annie was left with memories of their long and complicated history. She never remarried and continued to live a quiet life, raising her children with unwavering strength. Her story is one of resilience and dignity. She chose not to let her past with a celebrity define her, and in doing so, she became her own kind of legend. A woman who loved deeply, lost publicly, and chose grace over drama.